Welcome Capricorn to your August 2025 forecast. Your ruler Saturn gives you an innate appreciation of hard work, discipline, knowing exactly what your limitations are. But it has, since the end of May, been inhabiting a very tender part of your chart, along with the mystical energies of Neptune, which arrived at the end of March. That combination is going to be very close together through the back of the spine of this month. On the 1st of September, Saturn is going to invert back into your third house. It's going to come back into your sector of home, emotion, family, your environment, deeper feelings in February next year. But what it does do at the start of this month is ask you some questions about your connections to others. Now, those connections don't have to be romantic, because Venus, the planet of relating, has moved into a divine part of its journey through your chart at the end of July. And in fact, through the 9th to the 15th of this month, peaking on the 12th, forges one of astrology's most fortunate alliances. And you could connect with someone at that time in a magical way. Again, doesn't have to be primarily romantic. But right at the start of this month, Venus is at right angles to Saturn and Neptune. If you don't feel very heard in a more sensitive way by someone you're close to, or they don't feel very heard by you, it could create a pinch point. And what makes things potentially more complex is that Mercury, the communicator, enters this month in retrograde. It goes direct on the 11th, but is in a part of your chart to do with the deeper connection to people. The 8th house is about devotions, but it can also be about shared resources, finances, and so forth. So if you're trying to discuss something and the diplomacy of Venus is what you're pushing forwards with, it may be that people don't feel the warmth from you that you're meaning because of the more inhibiting or confusing energies of Saturn and Neptune. And what adds another detail to the mix at the start of this month is that Mars, the planet of risk, has been in a very flamboyant part of your chart for the 5 weeks preceding this month. And by the 6th of this month, goes face to face with your ruler, Saturn, and also with Neptune. So if you get frustrated with a situation, because Mars moving into the 10th house for you is a wonderful opportunity over the following 6 weeks to raise your profile, be more decisive, show your leadership skills, but also be more authoritative. But if you push too hard, something could break down. It may be around a family relationship. It's possible that there is some kind of shift going on in who holds or seems to hold the authority. When changes happen in quite subtle but powerful ways, where there has been a particular way of doing things, and then that starts to alter because we're all evolving. In any group dynamic, that can actually cause some concern for the person who feels they're losing some of their authority and someone else is challenging their authority. So some of these issues can play out at the start of this month. The full moon on the 9th is in the sign of Aquarius, where Pluto, the planet of transformation, is. But that is also in a T-square with Black Moon Lilith in the part of your chart to do with your desires around, say, friendships, the 11th house. So for you, if your connection to someone isn't quite working as far as friendship is concerned, or you feel that someone takes your generosity, your money, your possessions somewhat for granted. So it could be someone that comes round to your home quite frequently, may make something to eat, may just have a very informal way of being. That could be something that really jars for you. When Mercury goes direct, it can release some of the tension, but there is a big opportunity here if you are wanting to reset how you earn money. And the full moon, therefore, could be very constructive for you, along with Mars moving to the top of your chart, because if you are wanting to try something different in terms of generating income, the fact that Mars links to Pluto in Aquarius in your second house, everyday money, on the back of that full moon, but also links to the newly arrived Uranus, pushing you to change some of your daily routines, do things in a different way. If you go for a new job using the innovation of Uranus, the confidence of Mars, and the canniness, and you're often a very canny person, of Pluto, you could set something future forwards which actually works really well and reach an accord with someone that just is lovely. So I feel the key with coping at the start of this month is, if you are feeling a lot of resistance, you feel something shifting around the politics of a relationship, professionally, in the family, perhaps in a relationship, it's going to require some care not to get too defensive, or not to try and boss it and control it too much. Let it flow. People need to express whatever frustrations they're feeling, because one of the things that Saturn in the fourth house is encouraging you to do is to be more honest about some of your vulnerabilities. And if you try to crush that within yourself as Mars goes opposite Saturn, that's actually not going to be good for you. If you project a powerful image in order to protect your vulnerabilities, that may be something that gives you an instant win, but you could lose something for the longer term. So the best way to proceed this month is to try to invest a little bit of goodwill in others, a little bit of trust, and that's not easy to do when Saturn and Neptune are in a conjunction in the fourth house. You might not get everything you want. You might have to be a bit firmer about your boundaries. Why not? But if you're not overbearing about this reset, it can be very good for you. And then that beautiful link between Venus and Jupiter. Jupiter, of course, is exalted in Cancer, and Venus has escaped the early restriction of Saturn and Neptune in the month. So something can really develop in a very lovely way. But if you're really not satisfied by how things are going, and you feel that you do want to march to the door marked exit because you don't feel you can unpick something that's not satisfactory, the Sun's arrival in Virgo on the 22nd, followed by the new moon of the 23rd, could see you decide to do something quite radical. It could even be around a job, you know. There is that part of you that does perhaps like what's familiar, but you are a cardinal sign, and when something's not working and you have the confidence to change it, you are incredibly effective in taking a step forwards. And Mars is giving you extra confidence towards the end of the month, the Sun and the new moon pushing you to be more experimental, but also break free to reset your independent spirit, but they're also clashing with Uranus. So the change you go through could disrupt something that has worked for a very long time. And it's really like the chaos theory, or sometimes when people use the analogy, you can't make an omelette unless you break the eggs. So something could break down a little bit at the end of this month, but through the change, something new and exciting and dazzling can start to shape up for you. And if you have kept your cool and seen that you can link with someone collaboratively this month, if you talk through some of the differences you might have, or understand more where each of you comes from, as Venus moves to dive deep on the 25th, you could get a really lovely, deep, intimate connection romantically, or there could be some financial gift that comes to you towards the end of this month that's very much linked through collaborational connection. So it might not actually be you or your situation, it could be someone else's generosity to you. So earlier in the month, other people perhaps taking your possessions or goodwill for granted could really be something that jars. But it all depends on your unique situation, because when Saturn squares up with Venus, if there is a relationship that you've absolutely tried your hardest to work out, and you're never going to feel recognised, heard or respected. You have every right to assert your need to do what's right for you. And Mars is going to help you, but there could be a very tense moment, I feel, around the 6th or the 7th, maybe the 5th, 6th or 7th. But then, if you want to try something really different, radical and fresh, your confidence to drive that forwards could surprise people because they see you as being uber cautious, but when you really get the bit between your... With year 2025 absolutely racing by, you can order your year 2026 natal forecast now, and I'll give you the rest of this year free, but also 30% off and your life roadmap report. The most important document any of us can ever read, helping to give us searing insights into the life patterns that have played out so far, but a much more intimate understanding of how to work with those energies future forwards. Please see the link below for more.